Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to talk about if prop firms are really worth it. Should you be trading prop firms, and what are the pros and cons to prop firms as opposed to personal capital? So let's get right into it. So let's say you got two accounts. You got the prop account, which is 100K. You got a personal account, which is 25K. Obviously, you have less capital. Now, the reason why a lot of people go for prop firms is fairly simple. You pay, for example, $500 to do a 100K account challenge. Once you pass that challenge, you obviously get 100K in funding. Now, there's a couple of things that you should know about prop firms, and we're going to talk about that actually right now we're going to talk about that, and I'm going to break down why prop firms might not be the holy grail, might not be as good as you think they are. Because let's say, that $500 that we said just now, it takes about $500 to do a 100K challenge. Let's say you start doing that challenge. Statistics show that literally less than 10 or 20% of people who buy that challenge actually pass it. So barely anyone passes the challenge on the first try. It takes people on average 3 or 4 tries to get funded. So it takes them around 3 to 4 challenges before they get funded. Now you might be like, well, you shouldn't be trading a challenge if you can't pass it in one go. Yes and no. The reason why I don't fully agree with that is, yes, you can pass that challenge for sure, but that would require you to risk very little, and you'd be in that challenge for 6 months at least. So you'd be doing that challenge for 6 months. So yes, you can definitely pass it on the first try, but you'd be in that challenge for 6 months. And meanwhile, if you were trading on your personal capital for 6 months and you were using the compounding effect and risking 1 or 2%, that would have been closer to the 35K already. So let's get back to this. It takes people around 3 or 4 tries to pass their first funding account. So that's on average $2,000. Now, statistics also show that the people who do get funded, let's say they are in the funding stage, barely anyone makes it to their first payout. Now, let's say you are one of those traders who does make it to their first payout, and you get a $3,000 or let's say $4,000 payout, 4K payout. Now, what you have to understand is that prop firms are taxed at a higher rate. In the Netherlands, where I'm from, they are taxed at close to 50%. So you only keep 2K. So right now, we spend a lot of time doing these challenges. We spent 2K, and we made 2K. So we are at break even, and this took us probably a couple of months. Now, statistics show that only very, very little people make it to more than 3 payouts in their prop account. So let's say 10,000 people do a challenge. There's only like 300 or 400 of those people who actually make it to 3 payouts or more. So very, very little people make it to a lot of payouts. So what you have to understand is, let's say you spend a couple of months and 3 or 4 challenges to get funded. You now get a 2K payout. Maybe in total you get 20K in payouts, but a large part of that goes to taxes. So let's say you keep 14K, and you also spend 2K on challenges, and this is the point where you blow the account. Obviously, you're always going to end up blowing a funded account. There's not a single profitable trader out there who's never blown a funded account. But then you get 14K in payouts that you actually get to keep. 2K of that goes to, obviously the cost of the challenges, unless you get a refund, depends on which prop firm you're with. So you keep 14K in payouts minus 2K, so you're up 12K, right? Now, if we go and actually look at that from a risk perspective, you spend 2K to make 12K. What is that? That is a 1 to 6 RR. So you double, or you 6x your deposit, obviously, your investment. That's very solid, very good. But let's take a look at a personal account. A personal account, before I do actually, let me just quickly get back to this real quick. Prop firms, they are not your friends. The trading conditions are always a lot worse than they are on personal accounts. They are not favorable. They try to slip you wherever they can. They try to deny your payouts whenever they can. They try to fuck you over, really. They're not your friends. They're not here because they want to help you and they want to see you succeed. That's not their goal. They make money when you lose. Okay, let's say you got 25K in a personal account, however. You don't have to wait until you get funded, so you're not in a challenge for more than a couple of months. You don't have to spend 2 or 3K to even trade your personal account, right? Because it's your own money. So you can start making money from day one, literally. like I said, it might take you 6 months to pass a challenge. It might take you 3 or 4 months even to pass a challenge. In the meantime, what you could also be doing is you could be risking a little bit more on your personal account, let's say 2%, which in this case would be $500 per trade. And let's say you make on average around 60R or 70R per year, and you've been doing that for, let's say, 3 or 4 months. So let's say you're up 25R or 20R in this case. You are up 5K, but then double it, because I said 25, I believe. I think I said 25, so you're up 10K. You're about 12.5K up. If you're risking 2% and you're doing that for 3 or 4 months, and you made, let's say, 25K or 25R, excuse me, in those 3 or 4 months. So in 3 or 4 months, you're up pretty much just as much as you are when you're trading prop firms. You've got favorable trading conditions, so because the brokers are obviously not trying to screw you over as much as prop firms are. So you got favorable trade conditions, and you're compounding your own money, and on top of that, it gets taxed at very little because it is your capital gains pretty much. It's your own money that you put on the line, so it gets taxed very, very little. So to me, yes, prop firms, they are profitable. They are worth it if you've got very little cash. However, let's not put them on a pedestal. Let's not put them on a stage as if they are the holy grail. It is not a 1 to 1,000 RR, which a lot of people act like it is. They act like you spend $500 on a challenge, get a 100K account, and get 70K in payouts. It never works like that. You can even see the best prop firm traders. I think JCap is one of the best prop firm traders. He's got an average 30K spend for 100K in payouts. So that is literally about a 1 to 3.5 RR. So the RR is not as big as you think. They make it seem like it's very big, but tell me honestly, how many of you passed your first try, passed your first challenge, and got more than 5, 6, or 7 payouts that are actually quite a large amount of money? I can guarantee you that the majority of traders never get to that point. Meanwhile, if you know you're profitable, just start a personal account. It's taxed at very little. You can use your own money to compound, and the trading conditions are in your favor. They're not trying to screw you over. Now, that's not to say that prop firms are bad. It's not to say that personal capital is the only thing you should do. The holy grail, in my opinion, is doing these simultaneously. Trade a prop account and trade personal account at the same time. The prop account, see that as something extra. Also keep in mind, prop firms oftentimes don't pay you out unless it's maybe FTMO, but a lot of prop firms don't pay you out once you get too big. So see that as something extra. Your main focus should, at the end of the day, always be on prop firms. Keep in mind, you get taxed very highly on prop firms, especially if you're from Europe or from the US. The tax that you pay on prop firms is very, very high. So be careful with that as well. And remember, the trading conditions are not in your favor. If on average you make 60R per year on a live brokerage, prop firms can manipulate that to be closer to around 35/40R. They'll add slippage, they'll add spreads, they'll worsen the trading conditions, they'll add rules like consistency rules, you gotta make 40%, or your trading day can no longer exceed 40%, whatever, all those kinds of ridiculous rules. So they are not your friend. So just a couple of thoughts to take into account once you're deciding on which route to take. I would say prop firms, they're good to start out with, but don't neglect personal capital. At the end of the day, personal capital is a lot more valuable. If you got 20K, even if you got 10K, 15K laying around, then that is a better option to trade rather than 100K account. Like I said, it sounds very enticing. It sounds like it's a massive RR, but nobody passes their first challenge. Almost nobody does. And if they do, they rarely ever get to their third or fourth payout. So we've got a good method of fasting prop firm challenges, which is another one of my videos in which I describe exactly the method that we use to consistently get people funded and get payouts. And it works really well. But I always recommend people to also start a personal account. Also look into personal capital, which is, in my opinion, just a lot better. So thank you guys for watching. If you want to check out the strategy that I use, it is in the link down below. You can download it for free. If you got any questions about it, reach out to me on Discord. For now, thanks for watching. If you got any questions about prop firms, once again, reach out to me and I'll make sure to get back to you on that. But for now, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.